Hello, I'm Robin and I'm a normal alcoholic. Right, here we go. Are you an alcoholic? This is a really big question with a really big problem. And that is, if I could give you a definitive answer right now and say, yes, you are an alcoholic, would you believe me? Probably not. It's no cliche that almost all people with an addiction have an issue with denial. But why? Well, no one wants to admit that they're somehow flawed, that they have a problem. In particular, alcohol is such a normal part of society. It's so ingrained that for most people, they can't imagine going through their day-to-day lives without alcohol being involved in some way. Who wants to give up something that they enjoy so much? The champagne at a wedding, a nice cold pint in a beer garden, a red wine with whatever red wine pairs with, I don't know, it's not my tipple. There's no definitive test to tell you that you're an alcoholic. Find out why you drink and what you need to do. It just doesn't work like that. The only person that can convince you is you, and that's a process that takes time. For me, I recognized I had a problem with alcohol, but I didn't think that I was an alcoholic. I thought I would be able to learn to moderate my drinking, that somehow I was special and that things would sort themselves out. So when I went to CGL, that's my local drug and alcohol services, I had a wonderful caseworker. She told me pretty quickly that I'm probably going to have to stop drinking altogether. I didn't believe her. I said, look, I'll try staying sober for 6 months and I'll see how I am and, take it from there. Fair enough. So they helped me get sober. It worked. I stopped drinking. But within 3 months, I was back to where I started. I was completely out of control of my drinking. A while later, maybe 6 months and a couple of attempts, I started to accept that I was an alcoholic. However, I still had that niggling thought that one day, after a prolonged period of sobriety, that I'd get my control back. I'd be able to go back to being a normal drinker. But the same thing happened again. It was about 2.5 years, just over, that after my many failed attempts, I finally realized that I was an alcoholic and that I couldn't have a drink ever again. A common phrase in recovery is that addiction is the one disease that tells you you don't have it. For me, it's very easy to spot the signs in someone else, but I know that they're going to have to go through that same process of realization and acceptance that I did. A good starting point is these questionnaires. I'm sure you can find them online. You may have already had a look at one. It's something like, answer these 20 questions. If you answer 5 or more, you may be an alcoholic. It's questions like, do you drink alone? Do you find yourself drinking faster than the other people around you? Do you find it hard to stop drinking once you've started drinking? Now, these are all good indicators, but again, we come back to this problem of denial. I remember taking one of these tests and I answered the 20 questions. I think I answered 9 of them. And I thought to myself, I haven't even answered half of them. I'm definitely not an alcoholic. It was only then that I read that bit if you've answered 5 or more. I'm like, maybe a problem. In fact, denial can be so strong that you might answer 19 of those questions, but that one that you said no to, you'll say, well, that's way too far. I'd never do that. I can't possibly be an alcoholic. If alcoholics do that, I'm fine. The thing is that everyone's different. We all have different drinking habits. So there's never going to be an exact criteria to say, if you do this, you are an alcoholic. To put this in perspective, I'm going to explain some of the kind of basic different kinds of drinker that I've encountered. There's people like myself, the top-up drinkers. We don't necessarily drink to excess, but we kind of keep drinking at a constant rate for a long time, far longer than we should. Then you've got your blackout drinkers. They will have the opportunity and just drink as much as they can, as quickly as possible, until they black out. Then there's the binge drinkers. Might only drink at the weekend, not doing it all the time, but when they do go out, they make a proper session of it. Maybe don't drink as much as to black out, but they really are putting some away. Finally, you've got the evening drinkers. You think, what's wrong if I have a glass of wine when I get home from work, or a beer, whatever your tipple is, but then you're having that every day, and then that one becomes 2, and so on and so on. It will gradually increase, get out of control. The thing to notice here is none of those are the common stereotype. The homeless person in the park, sat on a bench, drinking whatever liquor out of a bottle. Being an alcoholic has nothing to do with your social status. It doesn't matter where you live or don't live. It doesn't matter what job you have, how much you earn, how clever you are. It's about how and why you drink. Are you using alcohol to get you through the day-to-day? Do you rely on it to cope with life? Now, I want you to pause for a moment. Okay. Most of what I've said is quite superficial, quite circumstantial. I'm sure that there are people out there that can drink every day after work. They can go out and have a bender at the weekend. They can drink a lot for a long period of time, and it doesn't make them alcoholics. I'm not giving you a get out clause. I'm just saying that some people can live like that and they're okay with it. But those people, they're not watching this video. The problems arise when those drinking patterns start to have a negative impact on your life. Sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, these problems will gradually mount up until they're unmanageable. You may start to damage your relationships, your career, even your health. But if despite noticing these problems, you can't stop drinking, then that's when you probably have a problem. I'm going to leave you for now to think about that. But if you would like to know any more, please check out some of my other videos. Do the clicky stuff, like, subscribe.